While we all continue to navigate the COVID-19 crisis, this time has been especially hard for so many of our adults living with dementia. With us now on the show, Debi Banooni. She's the director for the Brown program. Great to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Debi, tell us first, what exactly is the Brown program?
It is the Dorothy and Peter Jewish Community Adult Day Program. It is a day program for people who are living with dementia, as well as providing services to their care partners.
You are so vital and your services are so vital, but what's it been like in the middle of a pandemic right now?
So, we all hear about what isolation can do to us at any stage of our lives. And while you live with dementia, isolation is a way to fasten that progression. So for us, it was vital that we turn things around very quickly. I believe our last day of in-person services was March 13th-ish. And by April 1st, we had a virtual program in place where we would invite all of our participants with some assistance as needed from their care partners to log in. And once a week, we have our music specialist come in. And the other weekly program is a variety hour, which includes brain games and poetry and chair exercises, anything that we can think of.
So have you returned to any type of in-person programming?
We have not, but I'm glad that you asked because we are hoping to start a phased opening early April, where we'll bring back those of our participants who are able to comply with our new safety protocol, either on their own or with some assistance from our staff. And then once we've started our phased opening, we can start to bring everybody else back and welcome new participants who we have had many calls about, people who have been recently diagnosed and could really use that extra support and socialization.
I'm thinking about this, and dementia is a very hard disease for people to live with, but the stress on the caretakers as well. So when you had your in-person sessions, it was probably just as important for the caregivers to be able to get a little bit of time to themselves. So what's been the response from that side of the house?
So absolutely, it is a very difficult job, burden of love, we would say. And so we still do see that sometimes our care partners, they know that their loved one is enjoying a program that we're offering, and they might take a few minutes during that program to walk away and take care of something in the kitchen. It's not the same. We don't have them in-house for multiple hours. They can't necessarily leave their loved one alone, but it does give them some respite. And we have tried to continue to take care of our care partners. They mean so much to us, and we have sent care packages to them specifically with tea and mugs and fuzzy socks and warm blankets, reminding them that in order to take care of somebody else, they need to remember to take care of themselves. We moved all of our support groups virtually, so they have once a week, they're able to attend support groups at different times during the day. And we also started a group called Connections, which is run by our social worker, but it is not social work themed, so to speak. It's an opportunity for people to get together and interact and socialize during this time of isolation.
Debi Banooni with us here on the MegaCast. She is the director for the Brown program. What's been the response from the caretakers?
They are very eagerly awaiting our opening announcement. However, they have said that the care packages for them meant so much and were so important, and the majority of them, their initial response was to look at it as a gift for their loved one. So we have really worked to remind them that they have to take care of themselves as well. And they have said that there is a huge difference with our programming in that they see energy that might not have been there before. Their loved one will log on and see their friends and people that they may not remember their names, but they recognize them, and the personalities mix and they chat with each other, and it is just a wonderful experience for them. So our care partners have been very happy, yet would still prefer we, as soon as safely possible, bring everyone back in person.
So many people and organizations have had to do what you're doing and go virtual during this pandemic. But as you're able to start to bring people back, has there been a positive for your organization that's come out of this crisis that you think will stay in place post-COVID?
So absolutely. We had not done any virtual work in the past in the way that we are now, and we have people that have reached out to us out of state that are participating in our program now. And so I think building a bigger community, yet stronger community, will be something that we continue and appreciate. I think that we will maintain our virtual presence. We have people that, due to illness, even if it's not COVID, may not be able to come into our center. However, it would be a benefit to them to still be able to participate in some of the activities that we're having. So we learned a lot through this process. We appreciate it. We've built some strengths that we didn't know that we had. And we'll continue those things that have been very meaningful.
So I know that there was one study that said people with dementia are twice as likely to get COVID-19 than people without dementia. Hearing from some of your clients, has that been the case for some of your clients at all? Do you know?
I would not. I'm only comparing it to a small group, so I can't necessarily say if that's twice or not. I do know that a lot of our participants have been very strict about isolating, which puts them in a safer category. So, we have had, some participants with COVID. Now, we were not in person, so they weren't interacting with each other. However, I think that they have done a very good job of keeping themselves separate, which is another danger for people living with dementia and their cognitive and physical abilities.
Debbie, I'm wondering, how do you guys come about trying to develop your programs, your virtual programs? Because for some of us without dementia, it's hard enough for us to stay focused in some of these Zoom meetings that go on. So did you have to come up with a different way to do some of these virtual programs to be able to get the attention and keep the attention through a computer screen?
So I think in some ways, yes, and in some way, no. I think that we run a program that is very individualized and very personal. So in order to keep people connected, one thing is that each Zoom is 1 hour. More than 1 hour might have an effect. You've sat through meetings that are 2 or 3 hours, and you start losing some of the information as you get further in. So all of our sessions are 1 hour, and they're very interactive. It's not that someone is just staring at a screen. They're all greeted by name. They greet each other, and our music specialist will sing songs that he knows are relevant or favorites of certain of the participants, ask some of them to sing along or lead a song, and everybody is being constantly engaged, and our staff watch very closely on the Zoom and say, oh, I noticed so-and-so is not responding right now. I better ask them a question and bring them in. So they're very engaged.
That's good. I think a lot of business leaders probably need to take a lesson from what you guys are doing over there. So how many people are typically in one of these Zoom meetings?
So we have anywhere from, we might have a small group one day that has 5 or 6 people, and we might have another group that has between 15 and 20. So it really depends on how they're feeling that day. Is everybody awake? Is there a care partner there that can help them log on and get them situated? So it's different every week, but we look forward to seeing them as often as we can.
What's this been like for your staff to go through this as well?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. When you have a team that works with people living with dementia and their loved ones, part of your energy is drawn from interacting with your participants. It builds you up, it keeps you going, it maintains those relationships. So it has been very difficult, but everyone has worked very hard to maintain those relationships without being all in the same site. Our social worker makes phone calls to care partners every day, and touches base. What do they need? Are there resources? And our staff has just done everything that we can to maintain that contact until we can be in person again.
You're listening to 89.3 WVLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Debi Banooni with us here on the MegaCast. She's the director for the Brown program. How can people find out about the program? Is there a waiting list, or is this a referral base?
So they can reach out to us. They can check out our Facebook page, looking for the Brown program. We do record all of our Zoom sessions with our participants. They've all signed releases, and we put little snippets up. So anybody that's interested can always check us out on Facebook. They can also send an email to myself or my social worker. I don't know if that's information that you put up or you'd just like me to say it on air, or they can give us a call, and we're happy to talk them through the process and share how they can get involved.
So with that, Debi, anything before we say goodbye that maybe we didn't ask that you want to share with us about the program?
No, I mean, I think we covered it. We're really trying to keep people engaged. We have people right now that are participating in our program that were not registered participants, and they're waiting until we're able to reopen. So you do not have to be a current participant to get involved. And really anyone who's living with dementia, we welcome them, and we try to find out what it is and how we can help them live their fullest life.
Debi Banooni with us. She's the director of the Brown program, joining us today on the Oakland County MegaCast. And Debi, for those that aren't involved in the program, that have family that they're either close with or maybe living with that may have dementia, you mentioned earlier on that isolation can have a detrimental effect on keeping up with their dementia and keeping them improving. What can people do at home with their loved ones, or by visiting their loved ones, to keep them engaged during this pandemic as this goes on, so that progress that they're making in treating their dementia doesn't have a hiccup because we're all isolating because of COVID?
So continued interaction is very important. Music has been found to be a major trigger for people living with dementia. So playing familiar music, singing, clapping and things of that nature. You want to make sure that there's continued physical movement. So if you play some familiar music and you clap your hands together or raise your arms above your head, kind of stomp your feet, and there are puzzles that can be done, anything that can continue to stimulate the brain and to encourage people to interact and keep moving within the realm of what their abilities are. You don't want to build frustration. You want to build involvement and interaction.
Such great advice. We so appreciate your time with us today, Debi.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And thank you to you and your team. I know this is a tough time for everyone to try to continue to navigate this, but hopefully we are on the back end and we will be out of it soon.
We are looking forward to that.